All right, we can, looks like it's 9:50, so maybe a couple more people that filter in and out here, but we'll go ahead and get started. So this session is titled Video Coaching, Gaining a Clear Picture of Reality. Mr. Derek Perdue, who's the Curriculum Instruction and Assessment Specialist, I believe, in Simpson County Schools, is going to present that. I'm really excited as principal. I did a little bit of this, and I'm excited to see what all you have to talk about. I know it's a great model as we kind of continue to think about um, professional learning and teacher engagement and how we coach and support teachers. So without further ado, Derek, I'll let you take it away.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Here we go. I'm going to share my screen here and get my presentation up and running. All right. Okay. Good morning. I hope you guys have had a great start to this conference. I know that the session I was in before was really good. So I hope you'll gain some things from this as we go through this. Just feel free to stop me if you have any questions at any given time that we, as we're going through this. I did present on this last year, but have updated some things and tweaked some things. And so this year, I'm going to talk more specifically about our process and how we've kind of improved that over the years. We at Simpson, in Simpson County Schools, specifically the middle school here where I'm assigned, started this process about 3 years ago. And the growth that we've seen among our teachers here has just been phenomenal as we've kind of tweaked this process and moved through this. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today. Again, there's my email. It's also on the grid there if you want it with any questions that you might have. But before we get started, I want us to think about these three things, okay? Because these three questions are kind of what guided how we came up with our process. Okay. So I don't want to ask anybody to share out if they don't want to, but if somebody would like to share out the answers to these three questions, just to kind of get, our brains moving and our thoughts going here, just think about these things. The first one being, what type of coaching system do you currently have within your school district? And what do you believe to be the most important aspect of coaching teachers? And keep in mind there, we're talking about coaching teachers, not necessarily evaluating teachers, okay? And then how did you receive coaching when you were in the classroom? So does anybody want to share out maybe what you think your answers to these questions would be?
I'll start. Sometimes
Awesome.
somebody's being the first one will be the guinea pig here. So I haven't been a principal for a few years, but I was a district administrator, and I think when I think about the type of coaching system, or maybe my better focus is what's most important. I think one that it's recurring in nature, that it's not just a one time a year or it's for an evaluative purpose, but that it's ongoing throughout the year, whether that's weekly or bi-weekly or whatever that might look like.
Absolutely.
I also think it's important that they give feedback or they know what you're thinking. I think when I was a teacher, I would have some times where a principal would stop by, especially when I was younger in my career, and like, was it good? Was it bad? Was it, I think good teachers want to grow and develop. So it's important that they have feedback. And then I think the third piece that I would say is that it's a conversation. It's not just a me telling you what to do. I think coaching is if we take like an athletic sense, it's not just somebody telling other people what to do, but it's really a conversation of figuring out what's going on and why it's happening and how we can grow and develop from it. So that's what I would say.
Thank you very much. Anybody got anything to add to that? If not, I'll give you kind of what brought about these reflection questions for us. Okay. When we stepped back and we looked at, kind of the ways we did things here and how we coach teachers, the answer to that third question there kind of drove this? How did you receive coaching when you were in the classroom? And a lot of times the answers to that when we as an admin team sat down was, you know what, we didn't really receive a whole lot of coaching. It was, here's a couple of suggestions, and you might, check back in on them later, or you might not, or, the evaluation came and that was all there was to it. So we wanted it to be more than that. The ongoing conversation with teachers about how can we grow really became important to us. So that kind of drove us into researching some things. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Gym Night. Pretty much everything that you're about to see from this point forward, we've kind of drew from Gym Night's research. So these 4 books here, the Impact Cycle, High Impact Instruction, Focus on Teaching, and the Instructional Playbook really became part of what we do here. We started with the impact cycle and how we can better coach teachers to be better each and every day. We gave all of our teachers in our building a copy of the High Impact Instruction book, which is just full of instructional strategies that teachers can use in their classroom. And the feedback we've gotten on that is, man, I wish I had this book a long time ago. So there's a lot of good stuff in that book that teachers really like. So we got that in the hands of every one of our teachers. Focus on Teaching. We looked at just to kind of gain a better understanding of how can we film teachers and better coach them through that without there being that awkwardness and, oh, I've got to film myself, then come in and talk. We'll talk more about that later. And then we built a playbook. We built our own Franklin Simpson Middle School instructional playbook from that book that just kind of helps guide teachers in the classroom. As we give it to new teachers when they walk in the building, these are the strategies that we want to see inside your classroom. And if you'll get really good at these things, then you're going to be a really good teacher. So that's kind of where we started. I love this quote: the video coaching process is the missing link between moving research into practice. And we really believe that. We really believe this process helps us take the things that we research and we all know about education and actually move it into, okay, now let's do something with it. So why video coaching? I have a coaching background. I used to coach basketball. So all great coaches are masters at analyzing film to help their players reach their full potential. Any athletic coach that's good at what they do have the ability to do that. And we got to thinking, teaching is not much different than that. If we have the ability to sit down and analyze what we see together, then we can form a really good team. So that's what we started. We started using video coaching with all of our teachers here at our building. And we've kind of changed that up a little bit in recent years, and we'll talk about that. But oftentimes teachers do not know what reality looks like until they see it in action themselves. When we go in and we do walkthroughs, sometimes it's hard to think back, oh, what did I say? What did I do in that specific moment? Well, when we capture it on video, teachers have the ability to go back and look and say, oh man, did I really say or okay 75 times throughout that lesson? Yeah, you did. And it's really hard to argue the feedback that you're giving when they're able to sit down and actually see what reality looks like. And the amount of growth you can see through this process is amazing and truly worth it. Now, I won't sit here and say it's an easy process. It doesn't take up much time, because that is not true. But what you want to put effort into is what gets done, right? And so this is something that we have went head forward with and really put a lot of effort into. And it can be a real eye-opening moment for teachers. Now, some things to keep in mind. As we've transformed this process over the last 3 years, we've kind of noticed some things, and we've kind of learned some to-dos and not to-dos, right? So this process must be completely teacher-driven. If it becomes admin-driven, you're going to do this, then it is not effective at all. It must be completely teacher-driven. Teachers must not feel like the process is evaluative. It is strictly used to help teachers improve their craft. Okay. So we do everything we can to possibly make this process different than their evaluations. Okay. Our evaluations are all done on the computers now. We do computer evaluations. Everything gets logged digitally. Well, we go as far as making this video coaching process, all the forms that they fill out are paper pencil. Because we just don't want anything to be like what it is on an evaluation, so that the teachers know, they're just coming in to try to help me get better. Setting up a schedule for the videoing will help keep it consistent. Over the first couple of years, we weren't as consistent because we didn't have a formal process that we had on paper. So we got that done and things got a lot better. The coaching process can be very valuable. However, it must be followed through with. Just with anything we do, you have to follow through with the process. So here's the process for us. All non-tenured teachers go through the video coaching process. So if you're a non-tenured teacher in our building, you go through this. Each teacher is filmed at an unannounced time in order to gain a clear picture of reality. We've had people over the years when I've done presentations or whatnot ask why we do it unannounced. Well, we do it unannounced so that we really know what reality looks like. It's hard to coach the dog and pony show, right? I think everybody has a dog and pony show in their back pocket that they can roll out and do, and that's not really what reality looks like. So we come in unannounced in order to get the clear picture of reality. Teachers go through the impact cycle, which is talked about in that Jim Knight book titled The Impact Cycle, and those stages are identify, learn, and improve, and we'll talk about those here in a minute. We set specific goals for each of our teachers that go through this. So they get filmed, they have a meeting with me, and we set goals. Now, what we've learned is the process is much better if you let the teacher set the goal, okay? If you come in and we look at the video together and then you're like, man, you really need to get better at this, and you come at them at that angle from the admin's perspective, it doesn't go as well. So we've really tried to learn how can we guide teachers into setting their own goals, okay? And learning to look at the video and be reflective and actually pick out things that they can get better at. We provide them with the instructional playbook that we have, and I'll show you that here in a minute, but we provide them a copy of that instructional playbook. And we tell them that, we want your goals to be something that's in here because we believe as a school that this playbook is going to make us better. The process is not complete until the teacher is satisfied with the growth. Okay. So we don't complete the coaching cycle until the teacher says, you know what, I think I've accomplished that goal. And the cool thing about the video is a lot of times teachers can see if they accomplish the goal or not, right? It's not like, oh, you came into my classroom and I feel like it, but when you're watching it on the TV and you're like, man, I really didn't do a very good job with questioning, which was my goal, or I did a great job with questioning kind of thing. So here's the impact cycle. It consists of these 3 stages: identify, learn, and improve. That first stage is identify. So that is where teachers get the clear picture of reality. That's where we go in and we film the teachers, okay? And we film them unannounced. Again, all non-tenured teachers. The cool thing about this is we started with all non-tenured teachers, and most non-tenured teachers who become tenured want to stay in this cycle. I've had very few that say that they want out of it. And I think that's great. I think if the process is done well and teachers start to see that they're growing and that they're doing better on their evaluations, if the students are growing, then they want to stay part of it, which is what happens. So we have almost all of our teachers here at the building now over the last three years, this being the 4th year, are in this process to some extent. Coach and teacher work together to identify goals. So that's when we sit down and identify a goal, and then we give them the instructional playbook during this cycle. Then we want them to learn. We challenge them to learn about whatever their goal was. So if they set a goal of, I want to get better at classroom management, then they go to the section in the instructional playbook on classroom management. They learn as much about classroom management as possible. We prompt them to modify their practice. We set them up with peer observation opportunities. Okay. We pick out teachers that we think that they would benefit from going and seeing. I, as the coach, or another admin as the coach, will go into their classroom and model the strategies that they want to see as part of their goal. So we do everything we can to teach that teacher how to become a master at that skill. Now, we don't go overboard and set a ton of goals. Every time we meet, we just said one. We don't say, I want to get better at classroom management. I want to get better at questioning. I want to get better at engagement. We don't do all 3 at the same time. Okay. We're going to tackle one thing at a time and become really good at it before we move to the next. So we teach them everything that we possibly can. We throw a million resources at them. And then from there, we track improvement. Okay. So we go back to the classroom and we film the classroom again, and we start to gather data on, are we getting better at this skill? Are we getting better with this strategy? Are we getting closer to accomplishing our goal? We then meet. And then, we talk about how it's going and how the progress monitoring is. We make changes and plan next actions until the goal is met. So we just keep adjusting things until the teacher meets the goal and they're satisfied with what they do. So again, here's kind of our process. We do them once every quarter. We do more videos than that, but we say we're going to come in at least once every quarter and get an anonymous video. So it being the third quarter here at our school, we've gone in with the swivel camera and we've filmed everybody who's going through this process 3 times at least. Of course, we track the goal in between that, so it's more than that. Each teacher has a folder that consists of the following documents. They have a sheet that they look at, and I'll share those with you guys. They have a sheet that they look at that tells them exactly how to watch the video and what to look for. We gather that baseline data and they track it on a sheet, and that's used in the first video. So we get a clear picture of reality. And these are the things that, I didn't really think I did well on, or these are things I did very good on. They have a goal sheet where they set their goals, and then they have a data collection sheet for every individual video that we do past that first one. After watching his or her video, the teacher will meet with me. All forms are filled out, scanned, and placed in a Google Drive folder. So we do keep them digitally. Again, I've had people ask, why do you not just do Google Forms? That'd be much easier. Yes, it would, but that's exactly what our evaluation process looks like. And we've been super successful keeping this thing as far away from evaluations as we possibly can. So we've gone paper pencil with this. We use a Google Calendar. We share it with all our admin just so we know where we're videoing and who's coaching who. The first film session is unannounced, as we've said. We do use the swivel camera here. That's an investment. That is, the cameras cost about $1,000 a piece. We have 2 of them, but you do not have to be in the actual room. So that was the biggest hurdle before. We used to go around with an iPad and I would chase them around with my iPad, and it was terrible because you'd hear me breathing or whatever. The swivel takes that away. Essentially, that camera is, you set your iPad or your phone or whatever device you have in that swivel camera, it moves around with the teacher and tracks the teacher. It's great. And so we teach teachers, we train teachers on how to use that camera so that they can gather the video on their own. So when it's their time to get videoed and announced, we come in with the camera, they know exactly what to do with it, and they go from there. So here are some things that I just we have, just about 10 or so minutes left, 12 or so minutes left. I want to show you, just some of the things that we use at the middle school, and hopefully these links work. If you click this link, I know I shared this with you guys, this will take you to the Swivel Teams account where you can, set up an account. You can order the swivel cameras. The awesome thing about Swivel is that you have the ability, and I don't have time to go into it and show you all the details, but you can play around with it. You have the ability to make comments on the videos as you're watching the video. Okay. So as I go through and I watch the video, I make coaching comments all throughout that video. And then as the teachers watch the video, my comments pop up in real time. So if I see a teacher and I have some sort of feedback that I want to give to them, I can type that right there. And then when they watch it, that feedback pops up immediately. So the feedback is immediate. They don't have to wait until they come to see me. Now, we talk about the feedback when we meet together, but they can see it as soon as they watch their video. This link here should take you to all of these forms. And in this link here, I want to specifically show you guys, this is our instructional playbook that we came up with. It is a Google site. And so everybody in our building has a copy of this. Okay. And so essentially what we did is we sat down and we looked at the strategies that we thought if teachers could get really good at, they would be really good teachers. So there's things in lesson design. So say they want to get better at, setting up success criteria in their class. Well, this tells them exactly how to do that. Okay. So say, we're looking at classroom environment, right? All of these different strategies here they can click on. So the click here, a lot of the strategies, we included videos here. And as we've done this process, we've been able to substitute some of these videos with some of our own teachers, right? Because they've gotten really good at some of these things. So some of these videos will be our teachers, some of them are not, but we try to give them an example of exactly what it looks like. And so you guys have access to this. You can click on this link, so you're free to use it as you please. But yeah, so we talked, this link here tells them exactly what the process is. And has some videos of Jim Knight actually going through the coaching process. So they can sit down and they can look at it and they can know exactly what to expect when they meet with me as we have their coaching session. All right, let's see here if I can get back to my presentation. I got this big old bar up here at the top.
Let me hop in. Danny said the QR isn't working. Can you share the slide deck so we can click on the links? I was going to say,
okay. Yes,
yeah, well, I was going to say, if you guys go to the grid, I think
yes,
you can click Derek's presentation notes, and you can get access to this presentation, and it's linked there where it says instructional playbook.
Yeah,
so.
I'll probably need to update that QR code. It's probably old. Sometimes they go out of date, so I'll just have to refresh it and then it'll work. But yes, you can, as he said, just go to the grid. The presentation's linked there. Also, this is the implementation guide that we created. A couple years ago, I had someone ask me, hey, can you come up with a guide to how to, implement this at a school? So this is what we did here at Franklin Simpson Middle School. Okay. So we started in January of the year we started. So every month I put what we did in order to get this process rolling here at our school, okay, and in our district. So just take a look at that. As I said, I don't have enough time to just go through every bit of it, but a lot of it consists of book studies with our admin, book studies with our teachers, training teachers on how to use a device. This also has some information on there about, what everything costs, how, what you're going to have to purchase in order to make this happen. It is not a huge investment. Once you get the swivel cameras, that's pretty much it. There is a membership fee that one person in your building would have to pay for the swivel account. It's $75 each year, and that's it. And the swivel folks probably wouldn't want me to tell you this, but they try to sell you that everybody that gets coached has to have that license, but that is not true. Only the coach does. So if the coach purchases the license for $75, that gives everybody who they share a video with the access to make comments. That's pretty much what the $75 does. It gives you the ability to make comments on the videos. So don't buy them for everybody. Just buy it for one person. And then that person, when they share the video, everyone can make comments from there. But this is our implementation guide. So just take a look at that. And that will kind of give you some information on, exactly what we did to get things rocking and rolling. Here is a short video. I know I can sit here and talk to you guys about the process and that kind of thing. But here's a video that we did with some of our teachers, just kind of talking about the process and kind of how it's benefited them. I'm going to try to play it. I hope the sound works. If it doesn't, then we'll just skip it. But I'm going to play it from here just so you can kind of have an idea.
The video coaching experience has been super beneficial because it allows you the opportunity to be able to see kind of yourself teaching from an out-of-body experience. You're able to interact with your kids and focus on teaching a lesson, but then you're given the opportunity to kind of look back at yourself from another viewpoint. And one of my favorite things about it is it allows me to see my body language. It allows me to see how the kids feed off me, off my energy in class. Am I putting off a good energy? Am I putting off a bad energy? A lot of times, we talk about classroom management and all these classroom management techniques, but a good amount of that can always just be handled with having a good atmosphere in your classroom. And am I the kind of teacher that's putting off this good atmosphere, Or when I look back at this video, do I see myself as sluggish? Do I see myself as being slow to help, slow to speak, slow to encourage? Or am I energetic? Am I hyper? Am I doing all these different things to help something is working? And with this video teaching, we're able to set goals for ourselves that we're later able to look back on and physically check off on our own. Throughout the course of last year, COVID and all, we had several sessions where we would bring in the camera, we would set it up, and I would then be given the opportunity to look back at it. And there was just so many times that I looked at it and I would be like, wow, I was able to actually get these kids entertained in what we were doing, or I was able to get this kid to a much better, a much more mature, and a much better overall middle school math teacher. And I don't believe without the video coaching, there's no other way for you to be able to see yourself in action. And I think seeing ourselves in action and finding a way to respond to that, whether it be positive or negative, is something that's just invaluable. It's not something that we get the opportunity to do. So I feel like I have greatly benefited from the video coaching. I hope to continue the video coaching because I'm always hoping to be able to find ways to better myself, whether that be in my career, just in life in general. So, you know, for me, this has been a phenomenal experience and one I hope to continue.
I am really grateful for video coaching and for all of the hard work that Mr. Purdue has put in with me in this whole process. I really feel as though without video coaching, it would have taken me a little bit longer to really master the way that I use assessment in my instruction. And I feel as though video coaching is part of the reason that I was able to improve that area of my instruction so quickly and to be able to get the scores that I've gotten on my last several observations.
As a veteran teacher, I really enjoyed the video coaching process. It removes the objectivity from coaching. Not only am I allowed to review my lesson before I submit it to my administrator, but it allows me to pick and choose the times that I'm going to be observed. So it kind of takes out that anxiety of when are they going to show up? How do I prepare? What if they come in on a bad day? The kids are used to the video coaching now. They're comfortable with the equipment, so they kind of know what to expect as well. And it just makes it an overall more comfortable process for everybody.
Okay, so you kind of get the gist there. We have, a wide range of people that kind of go through this process, from younger teachers to veteran teachers. And it really has benefited us here at Franklin Simpson Middle School over the last several years. So does anybody have any questions or comments here as we wrap up? I think we got about 3 minutes or so left. I'd be happy to answer any of those for you guys.
I was just gonna give a comment. I guess thank you, Derek, for this. I think we did swivel cameras and we started using that when I was an administrator, and I think that video was really powerful. I think in the day and age that we live in, teachers have 1,000 things on their mind. When principals come into an observation, is the kid acting right? Do I have my learning target posted? Am I on time? There's 7 million things that's going through their head. And I think that first teacher in that video said that it gives you an opportunity as a teacher to be able to step back and see, like, oh, I do spend more time on this side of the classroom, or I don't give kids wait time, or I do have this going on that I haven't seen or thought about. And I think that's a powerful tool. And I used to say to our teachers, this is an old coaching adage, but film don't lie. And I think, the reality is, I think sometimes some of the more difficult conversations I had to have as a principal was not because the teacher was adversarial. It's that they really did not know. They did not realize that the things that I was bringing to their attention were really occurring, and video allowed that to change, where it was no longer, Chase saying, hey, what about this? Have you thought about this? Whatever. But it was very much a conversation about, let's look at this and you tell me what you see. And then it was much less adversarial and some of those difficult conversations. So all that to say, thank you, Derek. I think that's a huge benefit to the principals is thinking along this way, and instructional leaders thinking about this. And so thank you very much. And we got about a minute or two left. If anybody else has any other comments or questions.
As I said, my email is there on that first slide there, and I think it's on the grid as well, maybe on the resources page. Just shoot me an email if you have any questions. Typically, when I do these presentations, I have an hour, so 30 minutes was real quick to kind of get through a lot of this stuff. So if I sped through something or you didn't quite understand anything that I said, just shoot me an email or call me here or whatever, and I'll be happy to help in any way that I can.
Awesome. Thanks, Derek. So it looks like you guys have about 10 minutes before the next session starts. So feel free to grab another cup of coffee or use the restroom and go back to the grid, and you'll see all sorts of other things that you can focus in on today. So Derek, thank you very much.
No
Thanks,
problem.
guys.
Thank you, guys.